let's get to 84. I think,
Yeah.
this is such a freaking good weight. These guys are at this weight are unbelievably good. We have Plot at the 4 seed, McAnally, freshman phenom at 3, Parker Keckheisen, returning national champ, one of the best wrestlers in the NCAA right now. And then number 1 seed, going for his 5th national title, we got Carter Starocci. 5th national title. What do you guys think about that specifically? Like, just not the whole bracket or the whole tournament, but just Carter going for 5. Like, how crazy is that?
Crazy.
Insane.
I think it's sick.
I think it's insane, too, because I don't think out of everybody that's wrestled at Penn State the last, including you, including all these guys, Carter wasn't really, the first person that even over, Aaron Brooks, for example, which I get it. He ended up winning 4 as well. But, I don't think anybody will even thought, after he won his freshman year, that he was going to be a 4-timer, let alone now going to break the record for 5.
Yeah, man.
Right?
It's crazy.
I don't think anybody thought that.
He took a couple losses. He had lost to Mikey Kemmerer, lost to the Indiana kid.
Jackson, yeah. DJ Washington.
DJ Washington. And so, he just figured out a way, I think, that year to, gut it out. And the thing about Carter, a lot of people know this because he's very outspoken, but the competitiveness is just, I've never really seen anybody. He takes it to a new level. Let's just put it that way. I'm very competitive. You mentioned any guy at this level, any guy in the Penn State room, we're all really competitive, Carter takes it to a crazy place. And he means all the stuff he says. So it's just I think he's won, I don't even know how many matches in a row, but you can't bet against him, especially, last year if people would have known what he actually did to his knee, how bad he was hurt, bro, you would have never believed that he was even walking. You'd be no, that dude's in a wheelchair. There's no way. If you just saw his MRI, and he goes out, beats multiple national champions, and wins the weight. It's just he's just got the craziest competitive drive that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So I got a personal story.
Let's hear it.
Carter and I. This is at Olympic Training Center. And this was maybe let me see how long ago it was. I actually just sent him this picture the other day because it popped up on my memories. But basically, this guy was asking Carr. This was 2022 in August at one of our national team camps. And it's 10:30 at night, 11 o'clock at night. I'm going to the 7-Eleven across the street to go get a snack or something. I see Carter walking with his gear. I'm he's where you? I'm about to go get a Gatorade or something. He's what about you? He's I'm gonna go do technique with Coach Carr. He's let's go, bro. I'm cause you know how he is. I'm all right, say less. I'll go, cause I don't know. I'm like that too. In terms of I like to be in the room. I'm always curious about stuff like that. Wanting to. I haven't really worked with Carr's dad at all, Nate Carr, before, so I'm all right, yeah, let's go. Dude, so me and Carter start going, and it's technical for the first 30 minutes, and Carr showing some stuff, right? And then it starts ramping up, okay? And he's lighter than me, mind you. So, and it's because this was 2 years ago. He wasn't at 184. And so it starts ramping up, and we basically start going live.
Yeah.
And, so in my head, I'm all right, well, I'm going to go live until he decides he wants to be done, because it's definitely not going to be me. Right? And so knowing Carter, and I hadn't really known him very well. I just getting familiar with him at the time. He's thinking the exact same way. And in my head, he's man, I'm crazy. I'm telling you. In my head, I'm listen, bud, so am I, man. You picked the wrong one. And so we end up wrestling, and neither of us end up stopping. It has to go until Nate Carr at 2 o'clock in the morning decides to want us to stop it for us. And by this point, we're both we're just going to keep going. But we were so tired, and it was Carr took a shower. He was sitting on the bleacher on the side. Just looked like he was entertained. He might as well just had a bag of popcorn or something, just enjoyed himself. And me and Carter were laughing about it afterwards. We were both thinking the same thing, yo, is this guy going to say anything, or is he just going to let us be here all night? And funny enough, we both got hurt the next practice the next day.
That checks out.
I wonder
So
why.
dumb.
Yeah,
So
right.
dumb. So dumb.
No,
Never
that's
doing
like
that again.
Carter's. He's infamous for that. He'll always be, doing the 10 p.m., 11 p.m. midnight workouts, and always doing extra grinding. And I feel like he's got that competitiveness in him, but I think also because he talks his talk, it's like he has to,
He has to back it up.
Right.
I guess
so true.
It's being like someone, seeing Carter, I guess. I wish that he was more of like the way that he does what he says is like, if you, like, for example, if you say something, Bo, like the way you wrestle is very exciting and very like you're gonna go out there, and he's just a very defensive and like control kind of wrestler. So it's like sometimes I wish that he would like do that, especially for like some stuff he says. But I think his positioning and how well he holds the center of the mat is world class, and how he can press people. Like once he figures this out and gets to the senior level in the next year or two, like after this NCAAs, for example, like maybe he wasn't there yet with especially everyone in Paris, but like after this year, he's gonna be a threat, especially how well he can hold position. He's hard to get to his legs. He can constantly making the guy wrestle toward the edge and out of bounds and try to circle in. It's very difficult for people to handle that pressure.
Yeah,
it's insane.
He's got a great style. I think his style's way better suited for freestyle.
It is.
Because he's so fundamentally sound, and he does such a good job of holding the center.
It's insane.
I think that if he can work on, some of the chest wrap, front headlock, parterre stuff, that like, dude, anybody in the world is going to have a really, really hard time beating him, because his position's so good, his baseline defense is so good that the only positions I really worry about him is like getting tricked, like in a chest wrap or getting turned or something like that, maybe. But like the freestyle potential for him is insane just with his style. And he's not a guy that's going to go out and do something flashy and pin a guy in the first period. But I think his MO has always just been win. I have a really cool story about Carter. So I wasn't there for this, but Coach Casey told me that over it was the year his first NCAA tournament was over COVID, and he's wrestling Mikey Kimmer in the finals. And Mikey Kimmer had beat him, I think, twice that year. He beat him pretty bad at the Big Tens by a few takedowns. And Coach Carter's warming up, and he's got a couple matches to go. And Coach Casey goes up to him and is like, "Hey, man, how we feeling?" He's like, "Feeling good." And he goes, "All right, what's the game plan? Like, what are we doing here?" And Carter just goes, "Win."
Yeah.
He just says win, and Coach Casey's like, "All right, like let's do it." So it's like, I think that's just his MO. Like he's like, I don't really care if it looks ugly. I don't care. It's done. I'm just gonna go win. And for him, like he makes it happen, makes it work. He had a perfect example is the tight match with Max McAnally. Gets taken down, with a really nice low single in the first period, and he just figures out how to come back, figures out how to freaking win against the best guys, in the country. So all these matches are going to be super entertaining, I think, because the what it really means, right? Like this is never going to happen again in wrestling. There's no situation where anybody's ever even going to have the opportunity to do this. It's not like, oh, he can do this and somebody can replicate it in the future. Like this is it, which is just like, it's in my mind like must-see TV every second.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about some of these other guys? I mean, obviously we have a lot of really tough guys at the weight. I mentioned Plot McAnally and Kekheisen. We also have Chris Foca at the number 60.
Foca's great.
Yeah, he's really tough. We have Bennett Berge, who's beat a lot of good guys.
What's the Minnesota kid that kept a good match? What's his name?
McAnally, I think.
McAnally, yeah. I think he has a lot of ups. I mean, his upside is really great. I just question that, like, he kept a good match. He wrestled well against Carter. I don't know if there's anybody that's going to be able to, like, take it out of Carter's control of the match, even if, like, okay, one takedown happens or something like that. I don't know.
Right.
Like, if it's going to be enough to keep Carter out of the match completely. Like, I know I was kind of thinking this earlier when you guys were talking about, like, Gable, for example, and, like, Kassar was talking about, like, getting ready for, like, having someone actually try to game plan him. It's like, well, you can kind of game plan Gable's offense a little bit, but it's like, well, you can stop him from shooting, but how are you going to actually get your scores? And I don't know how guys are actually going to score on Starocci. You know what I mean? Like that's like, it's like there's a little bit of a layer. It's like, I think anyone here has that like level of offense that can kind of break through that? I don't know. Like that's what like there'd have to be someone that's like, hey, this guy's can hold position well and can find attacks to actually like get that takedown, get like at the end of a period and get up. You know what I mean? Be up 3-0 or something like that. Like, but that's the problem. There's nobody that's.
The other thing that I think that we don't have at 184 right now. So when I look at Plot, McAnally, and Kekheisen, they're all, straight up and down, no frills. They're going to get out, hand fight, sprawl, they have single leg, high C, basic stuff. They're probably going to get out on bottom. Like, I don't really see anybody here with an X factor where it's like, you took
the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, this guy's got a crazy, scramble, or this guy can, got a really like a crazy explosive shot. I mean, we have Parker Kekheisen at 24-0. He's an undefeated returning national champion, incredible talent, but he's gonna have to, he would just have to sneak one out on Carter. That's like the only way to beat him, right? Like make it, tied into the third, and then sneak one out in the third or in overtime. Like that's really there's one path to victory for the second best guy in the weight, and I think that everybody else is kind of like maybe, not as good of versions of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. I know we've been talking about obviously Carter, Kekheisen, and some of the names you already mentioned before, but like TJ McDonald on a 6 or 8 match losing streak, lost to every single guy in his conference, and then wins the conference going into the postseason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's
Crazy.
a redshirt freshman.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. And then, hey, congrats, bud. You're in the pigtail, and then you win, you get Starocci.
That's terrible.
Good work at conference. That was epic. Now here's the number one pound for pound guy in college. Like,
You know what else I like about Max Hale's not bad either. He beat Pat Downey, which I don't know if people respect that or not. Whatever you guys want to think about that. But
that's a good win.
U.S. Open champ, and he wrestled tough at World Team Trials. Not bad. And Dylan Fishback also wasn't bad. I think he was around a 12 guy last year.
Yeah, that's an interesting first round matchup.
Yeah, he's got some wins over some All-Americans, I believe, in his career. And it'll be his second tournament, and he's a redshirt freshman as well, so he's young. Name we could be seeing more in the next coming years. Silas Allred coming down from 197. So he's not bad. I think there's a lot of good wrestlers in this bracket. The other thing I will say, the reason why I personally think Carter's Carter and why he's going to be hard to beat is like I really like the way he thinks, like with that competitive mentality aspect of things. And this is me trying to be unbiased. If it was anybody who thought like this, I'd be like, I love that. That's exactly how you need to think. You know what I mean? But it's like he talks about, like, I remember one time he was in the Lehigh Valley in December, and he came in and we practiced in like the morning, and we were in the car walking back to the cars, and we were talking about, Penn State, just training, just all types of stuff. And but he was talking about, like, he remembers, like, someone had said something one year about, like, oh, his game plan is he's going to try and snap you down, like, X amount of times. Like, he averages a lot of snaps or something like that. And I'm totally butchering this, but, like, long story short, it's like, okay, well, you can game plan and you can prepare for how many times I might snap you down in a match. But his perspective is, it's not, oh, this is my game plan, I'm going to snap you down X amount of times. It's, I'm literally going to snap you as many times as it needs to happen. If you stop me from snapping you, I tried 99 times, I'm going to try 100. I'm just going to do more than you, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, it's that competitive, like, relentless type of mentality that I feel like really has put him in a position to do what he could potentially do like next weekend, and which is win 5. You know what I mean? I feel like you don't get there without thinking that way. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, he's just going to do what it takes, whatever it takes. It's not like, all right, this is what I got. We'll see if it works out. It's like, I'm just going to do what I need to do to make it happen. And that's it's a crazy mentality.
And I think too, like, just back to like his mentality along with his style, he's not another guy like that. I mean, he's a vet and he knows how to win, and I don't think his style is not like something where he's going to go out and do something dumb. Like he's going to be, you know what you're going to get with Carter every single time. So
yeah,
like that's hard to bet against. Like when you that's how this guy wins, and it's like, all right, no one can sniff a leg. He controls the middle of the match. He knows how to score takedowns at at the right times of the match. It's like, okay, I really don't know, like, and no one else is bringing anything that's, no one's more than one dimensional out there wrestling him, so it's like, they don't have that second, third layer of scores, reattack scrambles that can kind of, it's hard for me to not choose Carter.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I would like to see? They're on opposite sides of the bracket, but I would love to watch Max McNeely from Minnesota and Dustin Plott wrestle.
Yeah, they kind of almost look like they could be twin brothers.
Yeah.
Like I'm really curious about that match, and I feel like that would be fireworks also. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about somebody that's not in a tournament but has made big waves at this weight, and that's Angelo Ferrari. He, went out and beat Plott in the duel, which is crazy. Like a redshirt guy's not competing and was able to beat the number 4 guy in the country. So that'll be interesting. Looking forward to next year's and future years having him wrestle in this tournament.
Yeah, he's honestly.
And he wrestled Carter. He gave Carter a super close match as well.
Yeah, and he beat Plott, I believe, right, in the duel, or in the Oklahoma Iowa duel, which is, great win for him. It's returning NCAA finalist, a guy who, if he was on the other side of the bracket, maybe could potentially make the finals again. But I think. What kind of career do you guys think he's going to have?
I think I don't know what kind of career he's going to have, but from what
hard to predict for college wrestling.
Yeah, but from the glimpse that I saw him wrestle in against these really big matches, like, now that's the guy that I would say that's the kind of guy that would to beat Starocci if we were in. Like, right now there's no one I see that's like, oh, they've got that little X factor. They got that little, like, that asterisk mark that's like, damn, like that's nice. No, I think Angelo's got that. He's got a couple good setups and shots. He's dynamic with how he changes levels for a bigger guy. He can hold position really well, and he can scramble on defense. He can whizzer. He can keep the scrambles going. He's not like a guy who's just giving up a quick takedown and whatever. He's athletic, and I like how he moves, and I like how his setups. I actually was talking with my dad the other day. I've been getting back on the mat and working out again, and we were kind of actually talking about how Ferrari hit that shot like onto the other side against Plott. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
He has a nice little level change sweep single underneath like that, and it's a good setup. Or how he does it, like, I think it's an over tie position, and he like kind of almost drops underneath a post. It's really nice.
Yeah. No, he's the real deal, man. He actually, I've known the Ferraris since they were little kids, and we went to the same high school. So I've known Angelo since he was just a little, 5-6 years old, and he's always had that. Definitely, it's cool to watch him on the college scene, and he does have that X factor, that explosiveness, fast twitch, right? Ability to get on the legs, ability to get on shots. And he was on Carter's legs, quite a bit. He was on Plott's legs a lot. And he's also shown the ability when you get on his legs, as you mentioned, to just have crazy scrambles, extend positions, and figure out just ways to not get scored on. So, a guy like that, I think moving forward in the future is going to be very, very hard to deal with. And I'm excited to see what he can do. Moving forward.
If you guys like that clip, check out the whole podcast here and make sure to hit that subscribe button.